Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be redrawing one of my first digital pieces from almost 3 years ago, and we're going to see just how much my style has changed. So I love drawing foods, and for some reason I want to draw these 3 different types of carbs. And as you can see, they have very weird, obvious shading lines, and I literally used a pencil to outline everything, so super cringe. I'm just wondering why no one has ever stopped me before. So let's just get started on how I would draw these carbs today, and to make this not a million-hour video, I already drew out the outline of what I want to draw. The first one being a baguette bear. And since this will take me a while to draw, I'm going to try and tell you a little bit about myself and answer some questions you guys may have asked me on Instagram. But just overall, this is my way of getting used to recording my voice. It's painful, but we're doing it. The number one question I got was how I started my business. And so I started my business at the end of 2020 when I left my job that I was at for about 2 years. I was fun employed for about 3 months, and I felt like it was just the perfect time to start something that I was actually passionate about. There was no clear answer why, but I always knew that I want to start a sticker and pin shop, and I felt like I kept telling all my friends throughout the years that this is what I wanted to do, but I never really pulled the trigger to actually start a business. I just felt like as a kid I was always artistic, but I definitely put that on the back burner when I was in high school and in college, just because I never had the time to draw and practice. So again, when I left my job, I opened my Etsy, and in the beginning, I definitely had a lot of support from my friends. But the very, very, very first sale that I got was actually from Facebook and from posting on those Facebook groups, which I would never really do now since I feel like I was spamming a lot of people. So after that very first sale, I started getting a lot more sales, and to my own standards, I felt like I did really well for my first 3 months, where I was getting consistent sales every week. But after 3 months, I would say I ended up getting a new job because this new sticker business was definitely not sustaining the lifestyle I wanted of eating sushi every week, so I had to get myself a full-time job. And having this job, it definitely took a lot of my time and energy, and it really reflected on my business in terms of sales and the amount of stickers and content that I was launching. Like, I remember I was launching stickers maybe every other month or so, and it definitely was not where I wanted to be, and I wasn't posting consistently on my Instagram. I don't think I was posting consistently until maybe the fall of that year. And since then, I have been posting more consistently, and I just want to be able to document this new beginning in my journey, hence this YouTube channel. So the next question I got was how to stay consistent. And so in general, for me, I really enjoy drawing, so it's easy for me to consistently draw every day. But I also feel like if I draw every single day for a month or so, I would definitely get burnt out and I would get art block. And that really hinders me in a creative aspect. So what I learned that works for me is I would draw some days, but then on other days I would work on either Reels or YouTube or TikTok. So that way I don't necessarily get bored, and am continuously working on my creative side. So what I actually really want to do with my YouTube channel is try different mediums of art, like playing with clay or painting, and not just sticking with digital drawing. The next question I have is what I want to create in the future. So far, in the last year or so, I've only been making stickers and sticker sheets, but towards the end of last year in 2021, I started to make pins and keychains. But for this year or maybe in the future, I definitely want to get into apparel. I want to make socks, and I also want to see my art in things like cups or plates, things like that. Next question is tips for someone who wants to start a business. I think the key is to really just dive in and just do it. There's always going to be a lot of what ifs in the back of your mind of starting versus not starting. And I know for me, as someone who has so much anxiety of putting myself out there and failing, and the voices in my head keep telling me that it's going to be humiliating if I launch a store and no one buys anything. But then there's another voice that says, what if it goes really well? And it took me a really long time, probably years, to actually open an Etsy shop. And I am pretty happy that I just started. And my store is definitely not where I want it to be, but I get excited every day to just draw and create new products. And I think at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. And I think your business will show that just in a matter of time of how much you care about it and how much passion you have. The next question I have is on the brushes I use. So I exclusively use 3 brushes. Unless I'm trying to add texture, then I would use other ones. But the main 3 that I use is the soft airbrush for any shading, the HB pencil for sketching everything out, and then the script brush for outlining my drawings. So that's mostly all the questions I received, but since we still have a lot of time left, I'm going to just casually give you some facts to get to know me. I am a tea person. I'm not even sure if there's a lot of caffeine in tea, but I drink it every morning to wake up and start my day. I specifically drink a lot of Earl Grey. It's just so nice to drink tea in the morning, something warm, to slowly start my day. I don't think I can start my day without drinking any tea. I went to fashion school and I worked in the fashion industry for about 5 years, but now I'm working with food, and so that's completely different. And I think it all worked out because towards the end of my 5 years in the fashion industry, I started to exclusively wear t-shirts and leggings. And it's funny because when I left my old job and opened my Etsy shop, my mom asked me if I wanted to go back to school for art, which is super crazy coming from an Asian parent. I would consider myself a morning person. If you were to have a party at night, I mostly can't hang past 10 p.m. I just love waking up at 6 in the morning and working out and having that alone time. I feel like there's just something so great about not having anyone bother you or asking you to do things, because once 9 a.m. hits, I gotta start working and it doesn't stop until the nighttime. And then speaking of mornings, I'm someone who loves breakfast. It's my favorite meal of the day, and I feel like every breakfast meal can be eaten at other meals as well. Like you can eat French toast for dinner if you wanted to. The current Korean drama I am watching is The Business Proposal, and this is the first time I'm actually watching it week by week. So half of me is thinking that this is the best because I can actually dedicate a day and I look forward to that day to watch 1 episode every week. But the other half of me is thinking of just waiting for the rest of the episodes to all come out and I can binge watch a million 1-hour episodes in just one sitting. So yes, I am chaotic. I have a wiener dog. Yes, he is a COVID dog, so he has the best life with both his parents working from home for his entire life so far. And I feel like if I play my cards right, he will have at least 1 parent home for the rest of his life. I love hot water, and I exclusively like to drink water that is warm or lukewarm. So yes, I am embodying an Asian grandma. I wear contacts, and I wear it so much that there was a point where the closest people in my life just didn't know that I wore glasses. And being the pandemic, it's probably beneficial for me to wear it more often since my eyes are constantly dry. But I don't know why I choose to wear contacts. I guess it's for vanity reasons. I just realized that both of these drawings so far is very French-esque, and so speaking of French, I love watching trashy shows like Emily in Paris. There's just something about bad acting and cheesy storylines that really get me and get me hooked on to watch episode after episode. Like, I'm pretty sure I binge watched the second season in one night. Other shows that I can watch over and over again are One Tree Hill, Gossip Girl, and The Bachelor. I can't do anything with people around me. I have to draw alone. I like having phone calls alone. I can't have people in the same room as me when I'm in a meeting. I'm just super shy and I don't like people watching over my shoulders. So I did a solo trip when I was 20. I went to Italy for the first time, and it was the best experience and also the worst experience. I remember leaving an entire luggage on the train and having to wait for the train to come back, which took about 4 hours. So I literally stayed at the station for 4 hours to get my bag back because I was scared that the train would come back and I wasn't there and I would have to wait another 4 hours. But it was also super nice because I also got to wake up and do the things that I want to do and not have to cater to anyone else's needs and wants. So I took a art history class in high school. So I was a total nerd when I went to all the museums and seeing all the architectures and statues in the town that I was in. But overall, just as a 20-year-old traveling alone, it was a good lesson on being on my own and finding myself. I always felt like I was very independent, but after this trip, I felt like I was even more independent. I was eating alone, so I felt like that was something that I was always scared to do, but it's something that I actually picked up on when I came back to the United States because I love going on solo dates now and getting myself brunch because sometimes you just need that alone time. Something that I loved doing pre-pandemic is going boxing and doing yoga. There was just a point where I was doing both every single week, if not alternating it, but since all the studios were closed, one thing that I did pick up on is running. And for my whole life, I actually hated running. I remember during gym classes, we would have to run a mile every week or so, and I remember dreading it. But up until last year, I would run 1 mile and then 2 miles. And now, after almost a whole year, I am going to run the half marathon. My favorite type of food is anything Asian cuisine, really, but mostly I like Korean and Thai food. And this past year or so, and just going forward, I really want to start cooking more, and these two cuisines are usually my go-tos. So something that I really enjoy doing is organizing and cleaning, and ever since I watched that Netflix series, The Home Edit, I love getting clear containers or containers that all look the same and just making sure that everything have a place. And another thing that I love is decantering. I have so many jars of just random ingredients, like I have one for my oatmeal and for sugar, and it's just nice to see what I have and how much left I have of that item. But the only thing that I have to work on now is decluttering and getting rid of things that don't necessarily bring me joy, as Marie Kondo might say. I hate leaving the apartment a mess at night and waking up to that mess in the morning. I always have to make sure the dishes and the counters are clean at night because I feel like the kitchen is one of the first places I would go in the morning. Something chaotic about me is after a long vacation or even a short one, I immediately have to unpack and put things away either in my closet or in the laundry. Like, I just don't see the point in leaving it until the next day, just because knowing me, I would be tired and I would want to sleep the next day, so why push off unpacking? I am a huge introvert. I prefer movie nights and game nights over going out to the club, or maybe I'm just getting too old and I can't handle loud music anymore. Speaking of which, I just turned 26, which makes me feel super old compared to these younger artists and YouTubers. But who says art has to stop at 26? Plus, I just realized that 26 isn't even that old. And I think the reason why I think that is because all of these famous TikTokers and YouTubers are all in their teens, but 26 is not old at all. So I just started reading, and I don't think I picked up an actual book since high school. And so far, I read two amazing books. One of them being called Atomic Habits, which is great for those who want to start something that they've always wanted. There was a part in the book where the author talked about how change is not always immediate, and sometimes you can work hard and be consistent but don't see change. And he compared it to an ice cube and how it could look exactly the same until the temperature gets to a certain point, and maybe you're just one more temperature away from any change. So another book that I read was Crying at H Mart. It's about an Asian American woman who gets reminded about her mother who passed away every time she goes to an H Mart. And I think that really resonates with me as an Asian American, because I remember as a kid I would always go to the grocery store and cook with my mom, and she would always pick out these exotic foods, which reminds me of her every time I go to an H Mart or 99 Ranch. And it just goes to show that not to take everything for granted, and memories can be triggered at any moment and by anything. My favorite trip so far that I've been to is the Philippines. That was the first international trip I went with my boyfriend, and it was the perfect mix of relaxation and adventure. I remember we jumped off cliffs, but we also swam and laid at the beach. We went on boat tours and stayed on islands, and the water was so clear that we were able to snorkel and see everything, plus all the food was super good and super cheap. I remember getting a big ice cream cone for about 17 cents, which we can never get in the United States. Plus, they have the best and juiciest mangoes, and I sometimes still dream about those mangoes. I love playing video games where I can just do menial tasks like farming or fishing, so I really enjoy playing games like Animal Crossing or Story of Seasons, and I think that's because I've always loved those kind of games. I used to play Farmville and Restaurant City on Facebook, and even RuneScape back in the day. And funny story, I actually always dreamt of owning a farm and working on a farm, so in general I just like playing those kind of games where I can collect different materials and make stuff out of it, and overall just chill and be in another life. And so I don't think actionally games are really for me. I love flowers. I like to receive flowers, and it took me up until just recently, or 26 years, to get myself flowers. So no longer do we have to wait for someone to give us flowers. More specifically, my favorite flowers are peonies, but since my birthday and Valentine's Day and my anniversary is all in winter, peonies are never given to me, and I would have to get them in the summer. I don't like sweets, and I generally don't like junk food, and I feel like I used to like both, but nowadays I prefer savory foods rather than desserts and snacks. The only cakes I really like to eat is ice cream cakes. It's hard to believe, but the only thing that I'm allergic to is any type of wine. It's the only type of alcohol that if I drink a little bit, I will literally throw it up the next minute, and I always get hives on my legs when I try to drink any wine type of alcohol. I don't like to listen to music when I work out. I normally like to listen to podcasts or audiobooks, which is weird, but I just can't get into the mood of working out or running with just music on. Maybe I just haven't found the right type of music that I like to listen to. I just prefer someone talking to me without me talking back. So yeah, we are nearing the 20-minute mark of me continuously talking, and I'm honestly getting a little tired, but I'm also surprised that I was able to talk 20 minutes as an introvert. But anyways, hope you learned a lot about me and continue to join my art journey by subscribing. This last spare that I'm drawing right now is just an ode to my home state of New Jersey or New York, where we are known for our bagels. Also, it's almost spring, and spring can't start without a basic denim jacket. So, anyways, I'm going to leave you all off for the final minutes of this last spare being drawn, and hope you enjoy the music while I draw.